hear him.
You could hear him. Okay. Well, we'll cross fingers.
Welcome everyone to our panel, Dissolving Boundaries. Dissolving Boundaries is a panel that is part of our program, VRHAM Forward. VRHAM Forward is a program that looks at how virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality is changing how practitioners from theater and performance work. I think we all know what a stage looks like. We can imagine how rehearsal works. We know the Iron Curtain, but how does all of this work in extended reality, in VR, AR, mixed reality? And how exactly does it change the way we actually work? How do theater makers, choreographers, dancers, actors, how do they work with virtual reality? And as we all know, XR is a very international scene, so many people work remotely. What are the new tools and how do we actually use them for our artistic practice? We want to talk to some theater practitioners who are actively working in this field. They come from all over the world, and actually this panel is already a first proof that collaborative working in VR is actually possible. We are today talking to Kiira Benzing, Ilja Mirsky, and Daniel Strutt. I'm going to welcome to the stage one after the other to get to know who they are and what their practice is. Kiira, please do come to the stage. Kiira Benzing is a multidimensional director, the founder of Double I Studios in New York. Kiira, please come to the stage. Hey, Kiira. Can you say a few words? Okay, I think we have...
For some reason, I
now
don't seem to
do
have
hear
any
you.
audio right now, but I believe that Ulrich has invited me here to say hello to all of you. I'm Kiira Benzing. I'm based in New York City and the founder of Double I Studios, and we work on interactive, immersive productions, and a lot of our work these days has been in virtual reality and theater. We founded the Virtual Repertory Theater with live actors. They're doing live performance work and mixing VR and theater and embodying avatars along with our audience. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Kiira, for making all the way, at least virtually, to our stage here. Next up is Ilja Mirsky. Please come to the stage, Ilja. Hey, Ilja, how are you doing?
Hello, Ulrich. Hello out there. I'm doing fine. Yeah, I'm right now in Tübingen. I'm Dramaturg at the Institut für Theatrale Zukunftsforschung im Zimmertheater in Tübingen. And yeah, it's an honor to be here. We already had like many connections with VRHAM Festival because the residencies which were presented yesterday were taking part in Tübingen, and it's very nice to be here. Yeah.
Exactly. Ilja, can you tell us a little bit about your background? So how did you land this job at the Zimmertheater in Tübingen? What does a dramaturg do in virtual reality and XR projects?
So yeah, of course, I have many backgrounds. I studied cognitive science and performance studies, and by using VR as a tool for research, but also a tool for art, I started doing performance installations with VR during my master's in Hamburg. I also got connected to you and to the VRHAM Festival a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And for me, it was always important to cross the boundaries of normal, typical theater in real life, and also to explore the virtual dimensions of theater. So I got into VR and recently in AR.
Amazing. Cool. We're going to talk a little more about projects in a second. Please do stay on the stage. All good. Dan, please do come to the stage as well. Hey, Dan.
Hi there. I'll turn myself around.
Yeah, very good. How are you doing?
Here we go. I'm good. Yeah.
Where are you right now?
So, yeah, I'm very much I'm in my office at my home in Margate in England.
Great.
But I am affiliated with Goldsmiths University of London, which is where I do my teaching and my research. And I am very much a theorist. I came almost by accident into doing sort of theatrical dance practice. My PhD was called The Digital Image and Reality, and it was really about how new digital media and visual media specifically alter our perception of time and space, and particularly embodiment, sensations of embodiment. And I wrote a little bit about dance in my book, and then by chance, by just chasing a little bit of funding here and there, I ended up engaging with several different dance companies, producing work that was digital in nature using motion capture. But this is totally the first time I've ever done something in VR, and we presented work here last night that you were witness to.
Absolutely. We're going to talk about it in a second as well. Yeah, it's great to have you all here. Ilya, if you just come back on the stage, I think Kiira is joining us in a second as well. So I think we start, Ilya, with some of your work that you've been recently doing. Tell us a little bit about what this picture is about and where the project actually took place that it envisions.
Yes, of course. So this is a project I did on my own, like as an immersive media artist. So I'm doing like partly work at the theater in Tübingen, but also doing like my own projects with VR and now AR. This thing, what you can see right now, was a project with a company from Taiwan. It's called The Puppet and Its Double. And it took place actually it started in 2019, and it should have been like a collaboration, like in presence, about how to implement augmented reality in puppeteering and in a huge puppetry production. And my part was the augmented reality design. What you can see right now here is a screenshot from an application which I coded in A-Frame. It's a 3D online-based network, and there is also the option to include augmented reality in a way that it's available on every smartphone, on every device.
Cool.
And for us, it was very important that every one of the visitors could experience augmented reality on their smartphones, because it's already possible to do so. And therefore, I collaborated with students from the VRHAM University, which is also in Taiwan, and they designed the 3D puppets. I implemented them in this web app. And so like we could really cross the boundaries of like puppeteering, because we implemented another virtual augmented layer into the audience's smartphones.
Cool. So this is actually a project that blurs the boundaries between the physical and the virtual world. And looking at how we work differently in XR, how did the project come about? Was it actually more you working on the project, or did you have, as you just said, the people in Taiwan also working remotely? And what were the tools? How did you actually work together? How did it enable another layer of this artistic work? And just to add, sorry, Ilya, don't forget our audience, also Dan, they're out here, so we're always tempted to look at the beautiful pictures, me too, but let's take a look at our audience as well. Sorry, Ilya, for interrupting.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so it was for crossing the boundary, it was possible through like new recent tools which were implemented, for example, live translations. So there was a huge problem because I mean, I always forget about it, but not all people from all over the world are speaking like good English. So it's like always the communication problem, like how to communicate with students in their very first semesters.
Yeah.
And therefore we really used like the new translation possibilities. So we had the possibility like to have live translation from English into Chinese, so at least in subtitles.
Cool.
We were like possible to communicate in a very like fluent way by using live translations, which are like based on artificial intelligence algorithms. And it was I mean, why I present this project here is not why we were like the whole time in VR or in AR collaborating together, but because we used like translation live projects or live tools, which allowed us to speak the same language, though we did not speak the same language. And like this is a possibility for like also collaborating in VR and AR at being not available to speak the same language at the same time.
Cool. Should we have a look at the next picture?
Yeah,
What's
so
that
you can see
project?
here. Yeah, it's still the same project. This is how it was shown in the theater for the audiences. So the tool VRHAM or ARJS, how the framework is called, is possible to run on every smartphone, as I told you before. And this is how the audience perceived the puppets, which were scanned by the students in Taiwan. So they could like really get in touch with the puppets before the show.
So it is a collaborative performance, and this is actually what we're trying to figure out. How does XR work with audiences, and what are the different possibilities? Can you tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah. Yes. So what you can see here, this is really a project where we collaborated in VR. I had the chance to teach at the University of Tübingen to bachelor students about how you can be creative in VR and how to explore the boundaries of artificial intelligence. So what I did was setting up a Mozilla Hubs framework, so like a social VR platform where the students from the University of Tübingen could explore AI-human interactions in an immersive space. And the interesting thing was here that being like, or the Turing test as like a fundamental experiment, how to check whether a machine is artificial or not, can also be done in a virtual space. And my students created many rooms in Mozilla Hubs in VR where they could also escape the thousands of Zoom meetings which they had to attend during the last months. And so it was for them also a big luxury to collaborate in three-dimensional VR. Yeah.
Wow.
Cool. Kiira,
Beautiful.
you're back. Sorry, we already started. We hope you can hear us now.
Wonderful. I can, yes.
Good.
The magic of VR.
Okay, fantastic.
It's
Good.
with you and sometimes it's without you.
Good. Cool. Dan, let's carry on with you. Let's talk a little bit about your background, what you're working on at the moment. You have sent us a few slides to go through. Please tell us a little bit about the project that we see here.
Yeah, so the project, we were working on this before the pandemic with LaSalle College of the Arts in Singapore, and we just came up with the concept of, developing a tool for streaming motion capture data, quite simple really, but with an infinite amount of applications. And then when COVID hit, we applied for more funding and situated it within that kind of theme of remote communication. We were thinking of it simply in ecological terms first, how to cut all the air miles out of digital artistic collaborations. Yeah. And then, of course, it became a necessity, quite apart from the ecological angle, which, of course, still is there. So, yeah, if you could just skip to the video that follows this image.
Let's go.
So we presented our first showcase recently, and I apologize for the quality of these images. They were actually just a screen capture from the YouTube live stream. It was the best I could do, and it was dropping frame rates all the time. But it's basically, these three dancers are in three different locations, all connected to their own machines, and we developed a very simple tool to connect them. Basically a piece of software on a server somewhere that aggregates all the incoming data streams and can send them out to any number of different machines. Interesting. And I, being a theorist and philosopher, I was just really interested in these forms of embodiment that you could achieve in virtual spaces and through virtual collaboration. This one was based on the idea of a virtual touch. So these modules in the body could be activated by this sensation of touch, and they could explore each other's bodies.
Yeah.
If you jump to the next video as well. Yeah, this was a little bit more kind of abstract, with these carbuncles on top of the dancers' heads that sort of wobble around. And the idea of this was realizing that the dancers can not only move up to and explore each other and touch each other, but can also move into and through each other, abstracting their bodily forms. So we came up with this, and they ultimately all sort of blend in with each other. And then finally, if you skip to the next video.
Yes, sure.
If it's working. Yeah, we went for a much more sort of narrative, sort of graphic, theatrical kind of concept, where we have these two, kind of stage set almost, and these two-dimensional figures, exploring the space with this beam of light. And this was by far everyone's favorite during that live stream. It has kind of a childish wonder to it.
Yeah.
And that led us, Ulrich saw this, and invited us here to present work in VR for the first time. And thank God for that, because you did most of the legwork for us in adapting this into VR. And we've delivered a performance last night. We were video streaming images like this into the VR room, but with a view obviously to streaming data through a VR app and direct into headsets, and that will certainly be the next iteration of our research.
Yeah, just for everyone in the audience to know, so we have the performance area. If you just walk around here, it's still set up so you can actually see what it looked like for the performance yesterday. So that was actually the virtual set design, the virtual backdrop for the live stream that we showcased yesterday. And it was really, really moving to see. We had the dancers in the studio in London. All of us were all over the world, basically logging onto our VRHAM virtual. We went together into that room, so we actually have a performance space. You have the moment that you normally have, that you go into a theater together. We were in the performance space, and then we were waiting. We saw the countdown. It was just like the curtain opening, and then it started. And we were connected to London, being here in Hamburg, and other people from all over the world were with us. So talking about how you work in collaboratively and remotely, that was really, really interesting. So thanks again for making that possible.
It was a joy.
Cool, Dan. So Kiira, tell us a little bit about your latest projects and what you've been working on, what you've been up to, and share it with our audience.
Sure. Well, I'll just say to Dan, to be live streaming and projecting into VR and vice versa from VR into the live streamed world, it is really a feat, and just wonderful, because it does enable for this incredibly connected experience for these audiences. And I think we're going to see audiences evolve in the future. So I'm very excited about what you're doing there. And congrats on the performance last night. We have been working in social VR for some time now. We worked with High Fidelity. We worked prior to High Fidelity on a social experience with improvisers and actors. And now we are working with our virtual rep theater on our production Finding Pandora X, which is an interactive performance. It's immersive. Both our audience and our actors are all embodying avatars, and they go on a quest. The story is in the structure of a quest. And so they are looking for Pandora, they're trying to find hope and working with our main characters. And then there is a branching narrative. And in the middle of that, the audience has to make an important choice about which way they will go. And then within that, we've embedded escape rooms. And so as the audience chooses their path, they end up in their own interactive, collaborative escape rooms. And these are built on principles of a collective audience, people having to work together. They have to solve puzzles. Some of them have to step up and take more leadership positions. Some are able to step back and they don't have to speak. We give them key interactive lines. So the audience plays a really important role in our productions and in our work. And they embody this form of the Greek chorus. And we entrust them with this key dialogue that they have to deliver to our main characters, and then other places where they get to improvise with them. So we're really trying a number of different things in terms of narrative, and really excited for the potential of where XR storytelling and the shape and future of our audiences can go from here.
Amazing. Should we have a look into that? We have a trailer, I think.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's
Yes.
check it out.
The gods. Now remember, Zeus is a little temperamental. We must approach with caution. The chorus and I have come to deliver you a message.
We'll cease to exist. Mount Olympus will cease to exist.
Iris and Hermes are alive. They're just trapped in a lower dimension.
Then we must find them and bring them back. See if you can locate the Pandora that's just died.
Who's ready for a trip to the underworld?
Really amazing. Thank you so much for sharing, Kiira. We saw it actually got a nomination or won a prize. How did audiences react to it? So what is the feedback? Do they come up to you? Do they understand everything they have to do? I mean, it's a different form of theater. So can you tell a little bit about how they perceived it?
Definitely. I think that we are in a really interesting place where we are exploring what the audience can do, and they're learning what's possible in VR. And some of them are advanced users. We have such a wide variety that come, some know the platform. We're working with VR chat. Some know VR chat very well, so they're very fluent in it. They're able to send emojis and use their action menu and do all kinds of ways to express themselves to our performers during the show. They're very quick to solving puzzles. In other cases, people are brand new. They've only just bought a headset in order to watch our show for the first time ever. And so they're just learning how to use their controllers and how to move their hands, and let alone how to teleport and navigate through a landscape. And as you can see from our trailer, the audience moves quite a bit. These landscapes are vast, the story worlds. There's multiple story worlds because the story branches. They're moving through the environment. In one case, as you can see at the end, we take them up into the clouds and we teach them how to fly. So there's so much that the audience gets to learn and has to learn. So in fact, we have a bit of an onboarding space, and we have the actors, Iris and Hermes, greet the audience there. And that's an important moment because we want to make sure that for those that are new, or even those that are advanced, that they can have a more nuanced experience and they can keep up with our show.
Great. Looking at how it really changes the work of a theater practitioner or of people working in that field, Ilja, what was your most surprising moment working on one of the projects where you suddenly thought, oh my God, this would have never been possible in another medium. This can only be done here. Is it more a technology, or was it more of a moment where actually interaction between humans took place? Do you have something that comes to mind?
Yeah, but it's neither the one nor
Okay.
the other thing. It's more it's more about how easy my students, so in the student project, how easy they got into the medium. So it was really amazing because I mean, VR, or like creating for VR, at least like at a very low level, is very, very easy. And I mean, when I first entered the spaces in Mozilla Hubs, which my students created within like a couple of days during the seminar, I was really astonished because their ideas were so great. I mean, they really got into like the mindset of how to think if you like build experiences for VR, because you don't have to obey the rules from our reality, from our physical world. And this thing they really got into a very small amount of time, and the like results really present like that they know about the benefits, all the potential of VR. Yeah.
Oh, great.
Mhm.
Dan, so you work with students obviously also in the university. Would you say they have a different approach to those technologies than other theater makers and practitioners that you might know? Is it more intuitive, or are they actually interested in these new technologies? What would you say?
The students, you mean?
Yeah, the students.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm actually a little bit out on a limb in my department, which is the Media and Communications and Cultural Studies department. We're all sort of social theorists, cultural theorists, philosophers, etc. But I've been working a lot with the students in the computing department.
Yeah.
And I've always been a real champion of involving people from the humanities in any kind of research projects. I find that some, people who are, some students maybe in the computing department can be very focused on innovation and very interested in commercial applications and products. Whereas coming up from the humanities point of view is always, well, what does it mean? How does it change experience? How does it alter our means of, communicating with each other in meaningful ways? So I think bridging both departments from computing to cultural studies and sociology and philosophy as well, I think is a really productive way of guiding students in the right way, so that the work becomes more meaningful and more socially, culturally engaged.
Great. I think this is really a nice ending to this panel, because we're talking about dissolving boundaries, and you just said between different departments, between different students, between different research groups, there is a lot of dissolving of the boundaries, which I think is happening a lot in all of the genres, which is, I think, one of the most interesting things around XR. So we have all these different genres working together, and it's really a new art form. We can't say, okay, it's just we're doing theater and we transform it into VR or XR, but it's really something new coming up here and evolving. And so we're really, really grateful that we're able to have a look at this in this program here. And I thank you guys so much. A huge virtual applause for coming up here today and presenting here in VR our panel. So thank you so much to Tübingen and London and New York. And to everyone out there, thank you so much for joining in. For those of you who are interested also to hear a little more about how virtual set design works, so how do you actually make it possible to have all these beautiful experiences that we just talked about, we're going to talk to 3 other practitioners from the field in half an hour exactly at 6 p.m. CST. And please do tune in if you're interested. See you very soon, and thanks very much.
Thank you, Ulrich.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Ulrich. Thank you, everyone.
Bye now.
Thank you.